So we're going to do problem number 4 from the textbook. So comparing phones. So table 1.7, which is below, shows data for 8 phones. The overall score, a measure of overall quality for the phone, ranging from 0 to 100. Voice quality has possible ratings of poor, fair, good, very good, and excellent. Talk time is the manufacturer's claim of how long the phone can be used when it is fully charged. So we got 3 questions we have to answer. So 1, how many elements are in the data set? So let's scroll down a little bit here. So elements, right, those are the entities that we're collecting data on, right? So here is an entity, here's an entity, so each row is representing an entity. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So for the first one, it is 8. So there's 8, right, entities. And how many variables? We got price, overall score, voice quality, and talk time. So there are 4 variables. Let's see. So for each of the variables, which they just listed, which we just did too, we have to decide if they're categorical or quantitative, and then also talk about the scale of measurement. So let's go through and do both of those at the same time. So let's start with price. So this is quantitative, right? Because quantitative data, right, indicates how much or how many of something. So we're talking about how much money. So we have that. So in terms of scales of measurement, right, anytime you see money, time, length, distance, those typically indicate ratio scales of measurement. So remember, ratio scales of measurement give you the most information, and a way to kind of decide if something is ratio is it has that 0, and 0 means something. So price of something is $0. That means it's free, right? It means something to be worth $0. Also, when you multiply, divide, that has meaning. So here we can say that this VTech, right, is half the price, oops, sorry about that, of the Panasonic phone. So this would be ratio data, ratio scales of measurement. Overall score, right, it's quantitative, right, we see the numbers here. So we're going to jump to thinking it might be interval or ratio. So which one is it? It's actually interval. So you might think, well, but Kristen, there's a 0. When we scroll up here, right, the overall score, it's the overall quality. It ranges from 0 to 100, right? 0's in there. Why isn't it ratio? Well, let's think about this. Remember, with money, 0 means something. Like, you can't have something be worth less than 0. Overall quality for the phone, 0, like, what does that really mean? That means it has the lowest quality, but so it's kind of subjective. It's not really objective. Like, having a score of 0 doesn't mean that it's absolutely the lowest quality. What if a phone comes out that's worse? Like, how would it be scored lower than 0 if you already gave something a score of 0? So this one is actually interval, right? Because again, that 0, it's doesn't have a true meaning when something is at 0, like money or time does. Voice quality, right? These are categories. Right, excellent, very good. So this is categorical data. It could be nominal, but you might also think of it in terms of ordinal, because ordinal, right, gives some type of rankings, and that's what this data does, right? It goes from very good to excellent, and I think poor was down there. So this is giving more than just categories. It's also giving some type of ranking. So this would be ordinal. Talk time, right? Time, think of ratio. So this is quantitative and ratio. So again, think about that 0. What does that 0 mean? If talk time has 0 hours, that means something, because you can't have time be less than 0. So those are the answers for question number 4.